to the NuanceHoe YouTube channel. Today is my July live stream. You know how I do monthly live streams every month, and I'm just one of those girls who just keeps things completely consistent and regular. And that's not true at all. I took off the last month of June to get some stuff figured out and just overall take a break. I had to take a month break through the month of January, so it's not all that uncommon. It's, got some, stuff that is just needs to be attended to, most of which my 3 kids and my husband, and also a really other big project that's coming out. So I'm back. I have a bunch of really fun stuff planned. I'm going to try to do these weekly live streams at noon every Monday. And here's my first one. Here's my first commitment. Cheers to that. Welcome everybody into the live stream. I did this as a Q&A, and I asked a bunch of people on Instagram, and also there's a fun app called NGL, not gonna lie, where you can ask anonymous questions. So I always get the juiciest questions from there. So I have lots of questions that normally I wouldn't answer, but I called it an irreverent. I thought I would come back with a splash because I'm going to be doing a lot of regular long form content on the YouTube channel. It's going to be like very informational, very funny, very awesome stuff I'm proud of. But then once a week, I want to have live streams where I just answer questions, talk about what's new in my life, talk about what's new in your life, have this little community. You guys can talk to each other, ask me questions. I can ask the questions back to you, and talk about what's in the news. I feel like I have a superpower. You guys want to know what my new superpower is? John DeLynn didn't even do this. John DeLynn didn't even think of this. Want to know what it is? I was like, why didn't I just set up Google alerts to like have a daily digest in my inbox of just like what's in the news for like keywords like Mormon, Latter-day Saint, LDS. And so every day I'm like looking through, I was like, okay, so these are like the main thing. Or I'll just find articles that I never would have found otherwise. Because most stuff, it's like, I've been following it on social media. So I picked a couple articles of what's in the news lately that we're going to get into, most of which I think the push that the UK ex-Mormons and Mormon leadership has made to make background checks for anyone who's working with youth or children or just overall background checks in the church. Really, I want to get into the article about that. That's really exciting. And a couple other funny things in LDS living that I want to make fun of. So, welcome Mary and Emma and Annabelle and Lena, or is it Lina? I don't know. I hate having to read out loud. Reading live is my worst overall fear. And also, I have a secret producer who we'll see if she wants to be named eventually. But things are really picking up here at the NuanceHoe YouTube channel, you guys. I have an actual producer who's going to help me moderate comments. And so if you want to donate to this channel, because I do run on donations literally completely between Venmo, Patreon, and okay, sorry, I take that back. I make YouTube ad revenue, but that would never be enough. I have to the other half of that is people who support my content and want to see it. And so this one is just going to hopefully be fun, and we'll spend what a nice way to spend a Monday together. Exactly. Thank you, Michael. So hopefully you're on your lunch break, or hopefully you're just don't even have a job and you're just waiting at your computer for when I upload content. That'd be ideal. No, your job is to watch my content. So if you have questions, I will throw them up on screen, or my producer will help me. And then the best way to support this channel is I will have links below to my donor box and my Venmo at Caribbean and my Patreon at NuanceHoe. And if you're watching this later, I will put all of those links right here, right now. Right here. Bam, and bam, and bam. Looking gorgeous on camera. Thank you. We are not here to compliment me. I did get my hair done though, so we can talk about that right off the bat. Oops, I knocked over my table. The typical NuanceHoe look is out. This new one is in, so I turned my hair brown, and all my old blonde highlights still came through, and I got bangs and stuff, and it's a whole new me, and I feel really good about it. So, thank you. Mary is working on her computer, and I am all of your coworker today. So if you have any questions, like I said, there's super chats, and especially another fun thing that I decided to do is let's bring back the hat. So if you don't know what this is, Joseph Smith, when he was translating the Book of Mormon, this is news to me very recently, trust me, I did not grow up this narrative, but when he was translating the Book of Mormon, he used a white top hat, much like this, put a stone in it from his treasure digging days, and he's like, I'm just going to repurpose this thing, and this will help me translate these ancient tablets faster and produce this amazing, perfect, not one word needs to be changed, scriptural text for this religion that I'm restoring. And he put his face in like that, and the words would appear on the hat. And if you're like, I never heard that before, you're making that up. I wish I was. You can find videos of Brad Wilcox, who teaches religion at BYU, doing that. You can find the president of the church, Russell M. Nelson, showing how that was done. So, so I thought I'd set a goal. If we can get up to $50 of donations in this live stream, I will talk into the hat and see if it has a little prize for us. And if you've seen my other videos, the one that I did like with Hannah, responding to Hannah Stoddard, you'll know that I disappoint. I always pull good stuff out of that hat, So thanks for the compliments on my hair. Let's start off with one question, and then I'll do some. Then I will do some news articles. And if you have something in the news that you want me to talk about too, that's fine. And let's go to, all right, and I wish I could put them on the screen, but I can't. I'll just go like this, and you'll be like, oh, gotcha. Right off the bat, I told you, I'm answering literally anything. This isn't Ask Me Anything. First one, Dirt Bike Mike 35 asked, are you going to stay married? Hey, Aaron, are we going to stay married? He's in the other room working. So the story of that is, who knows the answer to who's going to stay married? Are my parents going to stay married? Phil and Carol, they could break up tomorrow. No, they couldn't. As of right now, yeah, I am going to stay married right now. And if you asked me that on May 20th, so like a month ago, the answer would have been no. The answer would have been, what are you talking about? I just had the conversation with my husband that we're going to get divorced, and we both decided to come to this amicably, and we're just like, love you so much, but this is going to have to end now, and we're going to go our separate ways, and this will be good for both of us, and we will work things out in our own separate environments. And we were really happy with that choice, came to it very amicably. And then some time went by, and the amicableness stopped being so amicable. And I'm going to stop saying that word, even though I'm totally crushing saying it really fast and frequently. And some things, got in the way. Some things started to blow up, and things were not as amicable as I wished that they were. But we smoothed everything out, and things kind of had to blow up for a second. And overall, you could ask me at any given time, am I doing all right? And I'd probably tell you even in the middle of a really hard time, I'm still I'm doing okay. I go through, that movie, Everything All Everywhere All at Once. I haven't seen it, but I feel like that's my emotional state over the last month, is just every feeling, highs, lows, all of it. And just being what a fun embodiment, what a fun incarnation, what an interesting life that I get to live. And overall, Aaron and I had worked through a lot of things, and we just are super, super protective of our kids and of our family. And if Aaron right now is in the process of, if anyone's followed my channel for a while, they've known that I've talked about my husband and I's separating a year ago, and kind of how we're working things out. I'm working from his apartment right now that he got a year ago. But overall, he's a fella who's got mental health issues. Don't we all? No judgment. Totally love the guy. But working as a computer programmer and not doing certain creative things, not spending time with his kids. Overall, Aaron he has his own set of how he wants to go about the world, let's say. And overall, love the guy. Great guy. And right now, it's not going to work out with his job. And so I guess all I have to say is, we just had to go through a lot of stuff. We're very protective of our kids. And now, everything is boiled back down to we're good. Sleep in the same bed. Love you so much. So for now, yeah, but things could change. I am not attached to any outcome. I am just very protective of my kids and whatever, I have 3 of them. Whatever I can do to make a nice, stable, happy household for them, I will do. So I answered one of the toughest questions right off the bat. So like literally hit me with anything else you got. So especially in a super chat form, that'd be great. Thank you so much. What other questions have we got? Yeah, and I always like to say it is perfectly natural and normal to get, not this part's not natural and normal, to get married within the confines of, let's say, a cult, choose a person, and then when you leave that structure, that institution, your brain is going to change, your personality, your pursuits, how you operate in a day-to-day life. Like so many things from the inside out are going to change. And so it's fair to ask, it's completely natural and normal to ask, do I still choose this person? And so I think space is one of the most beautiful things in the entire world. So Aaron having his own apartment, and me just having like the days where I'm in charge of the kids completely and I'm just running this, and we're starting to like separate our clothes or our finances, or just being a lot more independent and having a lot of space from each other has been great. Because I got married when I was 19. Like I literally was like in my parents' house getting boxes, moving in with my husband. I went from being a child to being like a child bride. So, and then all I did from that was like be a nanny. So like all I really knew how to do was like take care of kids. So just like kind of growing up and having your space with like no hard feelings, bae. Like love you so much, but just like things don't have to be as serious. Things don't have to be as harsh. I think, when you're acting in a situation and you look back, you're like, oh, I don't like the way I was treated, or I didn't like the way that I did that, or you're just so attached to like, I wasn't living up to like what I wish I would have done. All of those things, just looking at a lot of compassion for yourself and for others, that like all of us were only conditioned to act the way that we acted. And so it makes sense in context. So it's just like compassion. It's all good. You got to slow down. Slow it the freak down. $5 for Fuck, Marry, Kill of Joseph, Brigham, and Rusty. Why do you do this? Not for $5. I'm not answering that for $5. I will high five Rusty. I will kill Brigham, and I will marry Joseph Smith, because he won't even notice me. That's hopefully what I'm doing from that. Do not put me in innuendo situations with any of those men, for the love of all that's good and holy. Also, I got gun to your head. If you had to get a Mormon-related tattoo, picture, quote, anything, what are you getting? I'd love to hear all of your answers. Mine is, so when I was a teenager, there was this girl in my Young Women's who was like really into drama stuff. And she got up in her testimony, she said, I heard this really great quote. So I'm going to use that quote for my tattoo, I'm thinking. And she's like, I heard this really great quote. It was like, my body is a temple and you do not have a recommend, so stay off the premises. And she said like, Church of Jesus Christ. I don't know, she said, in the name of Jesus Christ, amen. So I'm thinking like that in like the church's font right above my ass, like a nice tramp stamp of that. That's where I got. The temple on fire, said Mary. Yeah, go ahead. Keep sharing yours in the comments. Love to hear it. Spill the tea on your first kiss. All right, this will be the last one. Lots of personal things about my body and my life. And then ask if you have any questions about church stuff. I want to actually make this like a value add, because I know a frick ton of stuff. My first kiss, guy or girl? No, just kidding. Wearing this. It's no, just kidding. The thing is, Aaron was what I feel like my first adult kiss when I was like 19. So I count that as my first kiss. But I was kissing boys when I was in 5th grade. I had like a line of all my guy friends. I was like a big tomboy. I was kissing all of those guys up until like 8th, 9th grade. But that was just like truth or dare kind of stuff. So I don't really count that. So we're gonna go with when I was 19. With Aaron. I love telling the story because he's such a sweetheart and so adorably awkward. And I was about to leave to go work at this summer camp when I was 19. And me and Aaron had just started. We'd been on like one date. I was about to leave. It's June 7th, we had our first date June 8th. He came back for the second date. So it was June 8th, 2008. And then June 9th, I was about to go fly to Massachusetts to go work at the summer camp. So he knew that he like had to get it in there. And so he's sitting on the couch next to me as we're talking. And it's just kind of quiet. And he leans in, and I'll never let him live this down, because he leaned in with a smile kiss. And I want you to try that with all of your significant others. Just like have them be looking at you like you're talking and stuff. And then I want you to go into their face like this. Yeah, it's just like not suave. But, or like his lips came together last second. It was like smile, 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 smile. Anyway, so it's just a little peck, and then got my heart racing, and it was pretty cute. It was pretty clean. And then we went outside. I said goodbye to him, and there was this beautiful sunset. And I kissed him in his car, and that's when he slipped in the tongue, and I was like, whoa, he's serious. And my little Mormon heart was just bursting. All my friends had already kissed tons. All my other friends were like hotties with naughty bodies, and I was just like, just got my braces off a couple weeks ago. So this is big deal for me. And yeah. And then I left to camp the next day, and all of the other girls all the other co-counselors did not find my story very interesting, because I thought that was a big deal, having my first kiss. And there were people who had a lot more interesting stories than I did, that were from like the Netherlands and like Australia, who were also 19. And they had, let's just say, like body counts up to like a couple dozen. And I was a little bit shook in my Mormonism at that moment. But you know what? Hey, girl, you get it. All right. Do you guys want to see what's in the news? What's in the news? Got to check in with my producer. She said she can't star the chats. But it's okay, because the most important ones that need to be starred are the, what's it called? Super chats. You know what I was talking about. So here's something funny that I was laughing at. I was going to make this into its own like little video, but I got too lazy. But I'll just act out what I was going to do. Okay, so you guys know how the church just finally released all of the Joseph Smith Papers project. They've been working on for like 20 years. And like I saw a clip of Jasmine from Scripture Plus makes all of these apologetic videos, and she's like, you know how the church people say a lot about our transparency, but actually the church is so transparent that we just released all of this stuff. And like my little, ex-Mormon brain is like, are they going to put it? Yeah, they released all of these things to kind of say that they did it. But I'm like, are you actually going to talk about the Joseph Smith Papers, what's in them? Are you going to talk about the letter to like Sarah Ann Whitney that Joseph Smith told her parents to burn? And like, are you going to talk about the facsimiles that are not accurate in the book of Abraham? There's just so many things. It's like, I can't compare it to anything. I'm trying to think of a good analogy. Maybe you can help me, of like saying that you did the thing, but not actually, putting it in any of the curriculum to actually have people not have these gigantic faith crises because of what's in there. You can prove the church false by what's in the Joseph Smith Papers project. I have, again, the video that I did about Hannah Stoddard and Joseph Smith being a treasure digger. I pulled all of those sources from the church's website and stuff. So it's like, yeah, it's a nice transparency and stuff. And so I was proven so correct on this that LDS Living had an article called 12 Fascinating Church History Facts Revealed Through the Joseph Smith Papers Project. And I could not wait to get my hands on that, obviously. So I'm like, so are they going to be transparent and stuff? Are you guys ready? Okay, I'm going to act out the skit that I already had in my mind, where I am telling you guys as a content creator, listen, there's a bunch of stuff that the Joseph Smith Papers Project revealed, hence all of the things I just listed. But if a Mormon really wanted to have a faith crisis, things like number 5, the church's founding meeting was held in Fayette, not Manchester, New York. What? This changes everything. Wait. It's like, do you want to talk about maybe how Joseph Smith was a treasure digger and his uncle Jesse, not from Full House, was like, you better knock this off or else you're going to be damned down to hell. No, we're not going to talk about that letter that's in there. We're going to talk about stuff like, wait a second. Joseph Smith was generous almost to a fault. Are you out of your mind putting that in there? That's so faith promoting. You guys. oh my God, I have to teach Sunday school tomorrow. Like, how can I know what's in the Joseph Smith papers? Oh my God, this anti-Mormon stuff. No, but the best one of all time. Get ready to literally cry with laughter. The last one is, no. We know what the carpet looked like in Joseph and Emma Smith's home in Kirtland. Oh no. All this time I was like trying to figure out what their carpet, I was like picturing it. Now I know that it's plaid Venetian. Oh my God, this is devastating to my testimony. So that's the kind of stuff that the church is like, because again, there's apologists like Jasmine from Scripture Plus who's like, oh, you don't think the church is transparent? Oh my gosh, look at this table of all of the Joseph Smith Papers Project. It's completely been updated finally after 20 years. We're so transparent. Look at all of it. Nobody cares. Unless you are actually, you know that the things in there are not faith promoting. You know that the trial, all of the stuff about Joseph Smith's trial being literally found guilty in a court of law for treasure digging with this rock that you have in your possession at the church in the freaking vault. You know that that's the rock that he was using, that he got convicted with, that he put in the white hat. You know that it's a damning case if you actually talk about the stuff that's in there. And so I just thought it was like, oh yeah, perfect. And we're going to absolutely talk about the things that are in there. Definitely Joseph Smith's aspirations in visiting President Martin Van Buren were likely humbler than many think. So can your testimony handle what's in there? Can it? And thank you so much for the super chat. Elizabeth said, if you could spend this money on whatever you could, what would it be? I think it would be a tramp stamp that said, no, just kidding. Thank you so much for that super chat. Again, the donations, all that I have. I think we're up to $30. So if we get 20 more dollars, I can show you, or I can ask the hat some questions and it can show us what I have in there because I have a special, what's life without props? If I could spend that $20 on anything, it would be going to the pool with my kids as soon as I finish this live stream. So I'm just doing that like boss babe stuff. You guys know how it is, where you're just like, you work and then you also take care of your kids and it's just like grocery shopping, like minivan stuff. Obviously, just like busy mom stuff overall. So Mary said, okay, but the carpet is kind of cool and I wish it was from a different house. I know. So let's get back into a couple questions. Any questions you have, put them on the screen. Let me do a Mormon-y one that somebody said. I got a lot of personal questions. I'll answer anything personal. I got a lot of personal questions, and we'll get to that. But I want to do something more Mormon-related. So somebody asked, what do Mormons believe in how Jesus got to the Americas after his resurrection? So I didn't know that I knew this when I was Mormon because it's just like a thing that happens. Like he died over there and there's like the earthquake and he's like on Calvary and the Garden of Gethsemane was the night before and Jesus is on the cross and then there's like darkness and he's put away in his tomb and then he wakes up after 3 days and then he goes and visits everybody and then he ascends into heaven. And basically that's where everything ends for the regular Christendom is like, and he ascends into heaven and he's just up there being the Father and the Son at the same time forever. But in Mormonism, the reason why I think this is the correct answer, because I did a video, it's my favorite video of all time, called The Mormon Concept of Jesus, which I'll link right now if you're watching this later. Just wait for it. I always thought that he came over like right after, because what happened is then Jesus, he floats away from Jerusalem, and then he comes down to other places, Zarahemla in the Book of Mormon. And then it's really interesting because like in the Testaments, movies and stuff, there are these faith building pictures or descriptions of Jesus. And you'll see like, then he like goes amongst his people, his other sheep, and sorry, my producer was asking me a question, and that's where he's like, I'm here, look at my hands, I'm Jesus, don't you know the story of how I'm going to be crucified? It's just a bunch of weird myths and stuff, but generally the story is like after 3 days, then he like descends and he goes down on a star and everything. But within that, there's a lot of destruction. So that's the kind of part that I like to highlight and make fun of, is where he's like, hi, Dad. Yeah, I was visiting the people. We're going to need tornadoes, earthquakes. There's a lot of sinful people here. It's like a Noah's Ark part 2 but Jesus Christ directly as he's coming down to the new world, which could be anywhere from Central America to the Heartland model of Rod Meldrum in the middle of America, that just cities sinking into the sea, tornadoes, children drowning, anyone who's not righteous, just slaughter them all. So that's the story of our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ in the Book of Mormon coming over. And then he picks his own 12 apostles in the Americas. And then he does a little meet and greet, and he comes down, like I said, on the star and says, hey, it's Brittany, bitch. That's basically all the details. You don't really need to read the Book of Mormon. I think I'm giving a pretty good detailed analysis of it. And Annabelle, thanks for the $20. We've gotten up to 50 now. Happy Monday. Appreciate you. Jean asked, do you think there's any trait about Bill Reel that is detrimental to having a positive influence on Mormons he's trying to reach? Personally, no, you're not going to get the... Bill Reel is the person that I give all the credit to that got me out of the church. So the answer to me is no. But everyone's going to connect with their own type of person. I know that I'm plenty off-putting and annoying in plenty of ways. And then I know that people connect to the things that I say and the way that I say it with the authenticity that I want to get across and stuff. So, yeah, I mean, if you have something specific, you're like, the way that Bill does this, I love Bill with every piece of my heart. He is the one who he was the podcaster that I wouldn't listen to ex-Mormon stuff. And then my husband gave me his podcasts and I started listening, and he made so much sense, was so good at especially explaining dogma and logical fallacies, and so straightforward, so articulate. And yeah, Bill and I are still good friends to this day. So, all right. So we have, oh my gosh, it's hat time. It's hat time. So let's see what we have. It says it's July, it's summertime, and it's time to roast marshmallows. Well, I'm going to get my marshmallow roaster out, and let me just grab it out of the hat real quick. So this hat, oh my gosh, it's right there in the hat. It's like kind of convenient in every way. So as I'm lighting this, I guess I'll tell a story that's going to be off the top of my head with something else that was in my questions. That one's too difficult. I'll do this one. This one I could talk to off the top of my head. So this is, if I had to say one thing in this entire live stream, it's this. So I hope you pay attention to this part. So somebody asked, not a question, but it looks like you have lost weight. Are you okay? I am okay. I'm totally okay. So that's a totally valid question to ask, even though like talking about my body is like not something I really like encourage people to do. Talk about anyone's body, really. And do you see that? It's a literal flame indoors. So basically what was happening was, I mean, I grew up as a vegetarian for like 11 years of my life. And I want you guys to see the hat though, so I have to tilt this down. And so I just grew up having a really poor appetite overall. And then I got diagnosed with ADHD. And, oh man, it's just not going to work that way. And after I got diagnosed with ADHD in January, I was taking Adderall. And Adderall can be great sometimes, but it's too much of a stimulant. I can feel it in my system for days and days, even if I take just a little amount. So... looks great. It looks like if I put it like that, it's literally, you don't even know what's in there. And so, you have to take breaks and stuff with Adderall, and it just made my stomach just like I had no appetite. And so I had to actively really try to eat, and I could go all day not eating until like 5 or later. And even then. And so I did a really, really big mushroom trip maybe 3 or 4 weeks ago here at my husband's apartment. And I'd never done that many mushrooms in my entire life. The Spirit of God with a marshmallow burning. Thanks. And I did too much, you could say. I did 4 grams. It was the most I'd ever done. And I just wanted reality to be as thin as possible so that I could get through what I was going through. And it did, and it was wonderful, it was great. But I was staring in the mirror a lot during this mushroom trip, and I was picking up the side of my shirt, and I was looking at my ribs, and I was like, I am pretty dang skinny, and I don't like it. And I looked at myself in the mirror, and I was like, you have an eating disorder. And not that I tried to not eat, it's just when I'm on Adderall, I just don't think about eating. And then the second that I said that, I'm not even kidding, I'm looking in the mirror, I took it, I'm not going to lie to you, I took a hit of a nicotine vape. I was also addicted to nicotine. It's a bad thing. And I took a hit of nicotine vape, immediately got hyper lightheaded, fell over, and woke up, didn't know where I was. I woke up and was like, where am I? I was like, okay, I'm at Aaron's apartment, sweating profusely. And I'd fallen so hard, as a matter of fact, that part of my shirt ripped off because it hit the handle of the cupboard. And I'm also discovering that I need to light more of this. I don't know. Look how cute that is. I'm just gonna do it like this. Now that looks freaking dope, if I ever said. Great. And yeah, and so I woke up and I was just like, I need to throw up. Oh, this is dope. Nice. Yes. I do lots of dangerous things here in Aaron's apartment. It's all right. And I realized I needed to throw up or whatever. And everything about that mushroom trip was really feeling like coming home to myself, that like Aaron and I were figuring out if we were getting divorced and things. And I was just going through a lot of stuff that told me that I need to just be able to kind of like when you give birth and you're like, it's just me and you, brain, like you and me against this body, against this world and stuff. So it felt really good to be like, it's just you and me in this obnoxious reality that we call home. And so I had to throw up. I threw up in his bathtub, and 4 grams was too much. 4 grams was a hero's dose for me. If that means anything to you. That was a great sound. That was free ASMR. And yeah, and so from that point forward, after I woke up and I threw up, and the mushrooms just kicked my appetite into gear, kicked me into wanting to do everything really slow. I felt like I was allergic to Adderall and nicotine for the last month, that like the idea of having a stimulant in my system, just like, no, of course not. So like every day I was just like, that's why, again, one of the reasons I had to take off the last month is because I was wanting to just make home cooked meals, plan out my meals, just be like, let me look up some recipes. What sounds good? What do I want to make? I don't have anything else to do but just feed my body. And all it felt was just like, me and Aaron have this inside joke about coming home to Greenbow, Alabama, you know, in the movie called Forrest Gump, where Tom Hanks' character, he's like, I think that Jenny should go home to Greenbow, Alabama. And then she does. And she just like, he like nurtures her back to life, and they have like that great relationship. And he's like, Jenny came home and she just slept and slept and slept. Sometimes I feel like I'm working so hard and just, I'm so at like this normal pace of going really fast that I'm just like going home to Greenbow, Alabama, and like everything is just in slow motion, and I'm making buttermilk pancakes every morning for my kids and stuff. So things have been really slow and good, and my body is not stimulated, and everything is just like up. So the last month I gained 15 pounds. So super excited about that. Great. Next one. Oh, I also have a really good tip. Okay. Jumping into the things from that. So here's my favorite thing. My favorite thing that I've learned this month, this year, this lifetime. So somebody said, no, it wasn't a hero's dose. Well, it's the most that I'm ever going to do. And yes, Exmo, I have no, like, look at me. You know what I do. I like to make jokes. I live my life. I have a good time. I love to be able to share tools and ideas that have helped me. And the only way I can really do that is through being as honest as possible. And there's a point at, what's funny is about different drugs do different things. So like marijuana, I think like increases your ego, you could say. And so I create a lot of content when I'm smoking marijuana because I'm like, that was pretty funny. Let's put that on a camera. Opposite thing happens on mushrooms where I'm just like, nobody talked to me. Nobody listened to me. Everybody is stupid. I hate this reality. Why are we even here? I have nothing of value to say. I'm just going to like sit here. I get really like grumpy on mushrooms. I'm just like, I don't like this reality. Nobody listened to me. The last thing I want to do is be a content creator. So it's a really healthy balance to do both of those. And so there's an hopefully a genuine curiosity that people have about substances, that they do not take them lightly. I don't take them lightly, but can actually understand that they are just a tool. Mushrooms are just a tool that are. I couldn't possibly like live without. A lot of these things. I can live without nicotine and Adderall, and those are available down on the street corner if I want to get them anytime. No, just kidding. But Adderall, I mean, just like the ways that we have pushed pharmaceuticals, and there's just so many other unhealthy things. And sometimes I'll take a little bit of here, a little bit of there, but overall, eating really healthy meals and just taking care of myself. It's always like, that's what's coming home to myself. Sometimes I just get distracted and just get like addicted to just like, I feel stressed, so I'm going to do the stressful thing. Tuck, hey Tuck, you made the live chat. What are your questions for me? So, because like I could live without alcohol forever, and Joseph Smith drank alcohol. So you really just got to know yourself and experiment wisely and with trusted people. Another person asked, like, what advice do you have for smoking weed or whatever after you leave the church? And I have no advice because it's like that's a personal choice and decision, and like research what you, I don't know. It depends on your social circle, depends on your mental state, depends on a lot of things. Weed can do a lot of things for different people, and so it's hard for me to say any advice overall. There's certain things that I wish I never would have tried my entire life. Nicotine. I've had friends who introduced me to nicotine a couple years ago, and I wish I recommend nobody ever try nicotine, ever. Stupid. Just stupid. Just like, what's the point? You're just like making a craving for something stupid that hurts your body. Hate that thing. So mushrooms, pretty much got nicotine like out of my system. I never want to try it again. But of course, I'm grateful that I've tried mushrooms. I'm grateful that I've tried marijuana. I'm grateful that I've tried MDMA. My marriage is basically saved because of MDMA. So like it's a winner over here. Like snap put together losers who want to just call it out. Like, you know, Exmos are just like, oh, the deep end. Be like, you guys don't know my life. And if you did, you'd understand. Be like, perfect. No judgment. So, especially if you read books like How to Change Your Mind, Michael Pollan. I'm like halfway through that book. It's so good. I totally recommend it. Amazing, amazing book. Just about the suppression of psychedelics in medicine, and so many ways that they can be used from a very academic standpoint. A Fantastic Fungi on Netflix, best documentary, best thing I ever saw in my entire life. Fantastic Fungi show. Let me make sure I'm reading the comments. And also we already had our $50 super chat, but if you want more, I'll give you more. I'll give you all that you want. No questions are off limits if you can't tell already. But the most important thing that's happened this last month though, after this mushroom trip, like I said, just really feeling like coming home to myself. I've been so happy. And the two main things that I burped again. This is not edited. It's just how it is. The two main things that I would just be like, please let me like scan into your brain so you can get, because I wish I would have gotten this earlier. Because you hear all the time about people saying like, be kind to yourself, like go easy, be kind, you know, just like, have you treated yourself kind today? None of that mattered until I got it inceptionized into myself and I thought of it myself. Is I would wake up every morning after my mushroom trip and I felt like I had a higher consciousness talking to my normal, regular consciousness. And it was like two friends talking to each other. And it was like, hey, Kara, what can I do to be kind to you right now? And you know yourself better than anyone else. And I'll be like, will you make me a cup of coffee? Like, yeah, bitch, let's get up and go make herself a cup of coffee. Just like there's no thought about like, oh, but I'm too tired. It's like, if somebody were to bring you a cup of coffee, wouldn't that be the nicest thing? And it's like, you can literally do that yourself if you just pretend that you are your own friend, picking yourself up and putting your you're like, wouldn't that be so nice to drink a cup of coffee, right? Like, that would be a kind thing I'm doing to myself. And that can extend to everything. So it's like, I have a really hard time going to bed on time. It's like, it'd be kind. Hey, Kara, it'd be really kind going to bed on time, because that would be kind to like morning Kara. Be like, bitch, I totally understand. Let's set our but like, and then, okay, should we snooze right now? Okay, 1 snooze would be kind, 2 would be too much. And I just talk to myself now and I'm like, everything's worked out. And so that combined with a combination of like reframing, and you won't be able to see this, but I put it on the background on my phone. And it says, doubt says I'm afraid to fail, where creativity says, I can't fail, I'm just playing. So I've had so much fun writing and doing a bunch of new projects recently, because there's all that stuff is like, to be kind to yourself. It's just like, call it play. Just call it being creative. Like, other things, like I don't feel inspired, or I don't feel like I have the energy. And then you frame it and say, I'll start and see what happens. Or like, what is the creative way that I could do this? And I always like, I don't want to do the dishes. But it's the kind thing to do to yourself, to have a clean kitchen, because you know that you will be able to parent your kids better if everything's back in order. Like, you need to set yourself up for like being kind to yourself. And like, the best way to love yourself is like to literally do kind stuff for yourself. And like, if it seems too hard, you just got to like reframe it, So anyway, I've had a really fun month. So it sounds like, I know the beginning of this live stream sounded like it was harder than it was. Felt every emotion under the sun, but overall, like I've got so many good supports right now. I've been hanging out with so many fun friends. Shalise from Cults to Consciousness and I have been talking, and she's giving me great YouTube advice. I've got a lot of new like supports and donors, and a lot of stuff moving and shaking. So I have some cool announcements of what I'm going to be doing in hopefully like the next 2 weeks. So while everything like topsy-turvy and stuff, like everything all at the same time, it does contain multitudes. So there's a lot of happiness, a lot of joy, a lot of reframing is possible. So, all right. Other questions. Producer that shall not be named, star some more things that you want me to read. And I'm going to go ahead and read a couple more questions. And so here's one. Speaking of which, I saw this last night and I tried not to read it with like, all right, calm down, rude. But then I told my producer and she's like, yeah, that's a legitimate question. I was like, whatever. This one says, this was anonymously asked, by the way. Why do you ex-Mormons consider having a TikTok/YouTube channel a job? If you want to talk about TikTok, that's understandable because TikTok pays terribly. But people, it's not just ex-Mormon creators. A lot of creators have content creating jobs on TikTok or YouTube. But I'm going to answer this like in my like annoyed, grumpy self, because I'm like, it seems kind of obvious that like I purchase equipment, I set time apart, I like pay for childcare so that I can, especially make longer format YouTube videos. But I have plenty of people that I've met in person or obviously, through DMs who have said that like their journey out of the church started with one of my TikToks where I was able to explain something in a satirical way or whatever. So like, I think it's because the content that I provide and the way that I provide it resonates with people, and they donate to my channel or they share my videos. And just like anybody, you're providing a service and people exchange money for goods and services. And yeah, especially in this ex-Mormon space, there's just so many people who need resources, need validation, need just like a place to hang out, some lulls. They're losing their community. And so Mormon Stories does that. Mormon Stories makes a butt ton of money. What's the word? Mormon Discussions with Bill Reel, RFM. They make a butt ton of money. Like Bill Reel was able to quit his job at doing his pawn shop to do his podcast full time. So it's like, why is that a job? I'm like, because it's a job. It's like a podcasting job. I don't know how else to describe it. People need it. So Donna said, you do good work. Thank you. I'm about to do a lot better work too soon enough. So that's why these live streams are my place to just chit chat and be casual, talk about my life, what's in the news, have like a little community of whatever. So it's going to be evolving, this channel, and I just wanted to check in after the last month, let you guys know that I changed my hair, and for continuity, I also changed my little cute avatar cartoon guy too. And Michael said, you kind of hit the nail on the head earlier. Every person needs a different approach to get out of their thought process. You provide one of those. Yeah. And I'm the first to admit, like, I'm not for everyone. If somebody, like, literally, you could say anything about, like, especially because when I worked at Mormon Stories, I had to read, like, all of the negative feedback that I got. Like, I was in charge of reading a lot of that. Or, you know, John he doesn't want to lose donors. So we got to stay on tone, on brand. And, like, when I was introduced and stuff. Do you guys know how much I had to read negative comments about myself, especially before, like, when people were unsure and then, like, I won people over, obviously. You know how I did that. And I had to read a lot of stuff about and, like, you cannot be in this space without people just wanting the best for content creators and stuff. They want the best content. And if they feel like, hey, Kara, you're not part of that, I'm like, no harm done. Like, I just want it to have, like, good content. All the other creators they'll do their own thing. People will magnetize to the creators that they want. And it's the people who have followed me for a while and are, like, you know, fans of mine, and they get what I'm doing, and if they genuinely are like, this is a problem and I don't like when you talk about this, that's like perfectly fine feedback. And I'll be like, okay, take that on, be less annoying, show my tits more, whatever. All right, I'm gonna get in trouble for saying that. My producer is like, speaking of people who, like, barely tolerate my content, I feel like my producer is one of them. Left, yeah. It's that old adage about, like, you know, a really sharp sword will cut, but it'll cut, you know. So it's just like, it's fine if people don't like me. And also, producer, don't worry about starring stuff. And let's go to my next thing called my next news article that I want to share with you guys. So this is really good news. So the whole leave the church and leave it alone thing that people say, anytime you hear somebody say that, I want you to remind them that British Latter-day Saints lobbied for stricter safeguards against abuse and succeeded. So what they didn't include here quite as much, but I have a video that I need to make about this. It's already planned in my head. Just got to record it. But Nemo the Mormon YouTube channel, fantastic creator. He's on Mormon Stories a lot too, from the UK, and 21st Century Saints. They've been pushing for background checks in the UK for years and years now. And if you actually, it's, again, are things coming through revelation, or is it just when the church gets annoyed enough with the leadership that they have nothing to do but just cave into something that is completely, obviously, in the best interest of everyone? There's no freaking downside to this. There's, like, only an upside. The downside is it makes the church possibly look bad because you were about to call somebody by revelation, by the Spirit, that has a terrible background that you would have only known that if you did a background check. And, oh, look, you know, before he moved into this ward, he was doing X, Y, and Z, obviously, right? So, like, it's only to keep, like, the fact that the church doesn't do this is such an obnoxious, obvious PR thing that just outs that this is not in the best interest of kids. It's not in the best interest of the youth. It's in the best interest of having a good face for the church. I did church PR when I lived in LA. That is it. That's all the church cares about, saving the good, happy name of the church. That's what they want you to think of and stuff. So super excited that they actually lobbied for this. So it just goes to show that if you don't leave the church alone, you're actually making Mormonism a healthier place to belong to. And that's always what my goal is anyway. So it says, for years, British members of the church have been pushing church leadership for more effective standards to prevent sexual abuse. Their requests will become church policy throughout the United Kingdom. Woo, woo. So this is a quote from Doug from Nemo the Mormon. This is a win for activism. UK Latter-day Saint who runs Nemo the Mormon podcast. This is a win for engaged members saying, no, something's not right. We need to change it. So yeah, on Reddit, he posted, I wonder if it's in here, but yeah, he posted on Reddit that there's, you know, when they release something to, like, all the mission presidents, all the stake presidents of what the new policy is. And just reading that was like, wow, like, you know that those types of things where changes are going to happen within the church and they're read out on the pulpit, you always know that those things, they come like top down from the church. But this is one of those things that have been so obnoxiously dogmatic and harmful to children, where like states like Arizona, like the church has literally said that its clergy, its lay clergy cannot be held accountable and cannot be expected to report child abuse that is reported to them. Like, they lobby in favor of the most, okay, and it's the ex-Mormons, and it's like the people who actually care and want to make Mormonism a healthier place to belong to in the church and outside of the church, who are actually doing it, and it's not from top down. So when you see something like that, where the dogma has been like actually broken, that's why I've always been obsessed with Bill Reel, because he talked about this, that change will happen from the bottom up and the inside out. It's not going to be this top down. It wasn't with race. It's not with women's issues. It's not with polygamy. It's always bottom up and inside out, or yeah, you already know what I said. Bottom up and outside in. And this is just one of the most clear-cut examples recently that I hope would touch everybody who cares about children and, people being vulnerable in church settings where there are authority figures over them that they say speak for God and can do and manipulate ways. If you heard, there's another article in BYU. This happened a couple years ago, but I think the guy finally just got in trouble, arrested. I'm not sure. I'll think about it. But there's like a BYU professor who took young students into his office, and he's like, God told me to get under your bra. I don't know the exact details of the story, but I should probably look it up. But did exactly what Joseph Smith would do, be like, God told me that we're supposed to be doing this. And they believe them. And it's just, you think you're like, that's insane, But think about any type of like cult mindset, anything where you are outsourcing your autonomy to somebody else, where they just speak in authority over you, and you can give up your mind, your body. Everything is just in the hands of somebody else. And that's dangerous and outside of religion, but it's just so key to the fundamentals of Mormonism. And when you push back with things like background checks, something that basic, isn't it fascinating? Isn't that wholly fascinating how the church that has the name Jesus Christ in it reacts like a kid who just got like its lollipop taken away? Like, they're not on board with it. It's devastating. So it's like reason number 597 that the church isn't true, and it's not a safe place for people of all kinds to belong to. So thank you so much for sticking with me for that rant. Back into, let's go. There's so many personal questions. Here's another one. I'll go from one rant to the next. What do you think is the most dangerous teaching to come out of the LDS church? It's just what I said. I made a video about this before, where people get on me for making fun of sacred things like the temple ceremony or whatever. I have a whole entire video about this. But yes, there are things that are sacred to you guys. We can talk about how they were stolen from the Masons. That point could be made in a million different ways. My point is always, the things that are the most sacred is what religion has to just exist as a religion. It has to tell you are broken. It has to stamp out the sacredness within you and replace it with its own system of how you then get back that divinity. It's disgusting. It's so... it's the antithesis of what I think an actual spiritual journey would be. Again, all of that outsourcing, all of that telling you that you're broken, and these are the checks of the boxes that you need to do. And so that's like, I know that's a big picture thing, and somebody's probably asking for like, it's teaching that you can only get into heaven if you are this, two genders and man and woman marriages. There's plenty of homophobic things. There's plenty of racist things. I could go on endlessly over and all. But the big picture of all of it is it having any authority to speak on behalf of the creator of the universe, to tell people that they, as a child, you are broken and you need fixing. You have this savior. You need to emulate them. You need to make yourself like OCD and have scrupulosity and check all of these boxes to then be made again, whether that's by your maker or in just a family relationship. Everybody just has a longing to connect with a higher power. I think everybody just has a longing to, I'm an atheist, but like overall, you have this wonderment about what you're here and where you're going, and to be told that people in Salt Lake City that you've never met, these 15 guys, that they know what's best for your life because they've been given this authority that's been handed down. And that's just a system that you just, since you're born into it, you just automatically are like, yeah, and that's, yeah, I'm just going to sit in this pew, and that leader, they know better for this. And it's completely natural and normal for me, like when I was 19, to be like, yeah, I've known my husband, I've known Aaron for 3 weeks, and we're going to get married. This is how I show the sanctity of marriage, by, as a 19-year-old, cleaving unto my husband for the rest of my life. Just the very ways that you give away your autonomy are some of the most obnoxious teachings. I don't know how else to put it. It is sacrilegious to take away the actual, like, the sanctity of life. It's that same argument of, like, the way that so many conservatives are like, you guys are just, like, not pro-life. It's like, I'm so pro-life. Look at all of these policies I support. You guys are, like, not pro-marriage. I am so pro-marriage. It's the way that you guys form marriages that are ending in some of the worst, like, devastation. I'm just, like, pro-individuality and autonomy as we all, like, step up to the plate of who we came here, what we were meant to be, like, living up our full potential, and, like, seeing that we are all the same, we are all one. Everything that I do interacts with other people, and it's not just this, you have to bear yourself in your scriptures and your praying and your temple worship, and then you'll be good enough. Like, how cold and how separating that is. Because no matter how much you want to say that, like, I felt like that, and then Jesus saved me and he told me that I was fine. I lived the most grace-filled version of Christianity and Mormonism that I possibly could. And it's still, at the end of the day, you are never enough without somebody else filling that. God created a him-sized hole inside your heart, is like a Christian saying, you know? It's like that. There's a lot that I could say about that, but that's not it. There's an entire other beauty and wholeness. Like I said, if you just, like, come home to yourself and recognize the powers that you have, that there's nothing better than that. And all of Mormonism just felt like it was outsourced, and it was taken without consent, and it's just everyone's, like, grabbing from you, and you never have a place to just come home to, like, who you are at the end of the day. Does that make sense? And it's just, nope, you're broken. Here's the system to fix you. And it's like, gotta peace out from that. Just gotta, like, peace out and love from that. You know what I mean? Overall, did you prefer California or Utah? Revbone 450 asked. Overall, that's a hard question. I guess California. I just hate the traffic, and I hate the smog. And I just overall feel a lot safer in Utah. It's just, like, my home when I'm here. Like, I just feel like no one's going to mug me and no one's going to carjack me. And when I'm in LA, I'm just like, lock the doors at all times. So it just feels, I'm a little bit more on edge in LA, but I lived close to the beach, and I had great friends and a great job. And, but I love the mountains. I love the mountains more than the beach. Just so you know, when people are like, I'm going to the beach, I'm not jealous. Okay. I don't care about your pictures at the beach. If you're up at, like, a really beautiful, serene lake in the mountains by yourself, then I'm wholly jealous of that. So I live really close to the mountains here in Utah, so I wouldn't have it any other way. So I'll probably stick around forever. Sometimes when I'm, like, about to have a mental breakdown, me and Aaron are like, let's just, like, get in the car and, like, move to LA. Who's gonna stop us? So it's always in the back of my mind, though. All right, I got a few more minutes. Let me see what else I will want to answer. Should I go? All right, you guys can tell me. Your options are article, personal question, advice, or third mystery option from the hat. I got through a lot of stuff right now in an hour, though. I feel good. On edge is a very good word for LA, Michael said. Yes. Oh, okay. Here's one. So this is one I don't want to answer but I will. I don't care. So somebody said, it was anonymous. So people ask me anything. I'm not a gatekeeper of my own life. So somebody said, why do you still try and keep a relationship with your mom when she doesn't accept you anymore? So it's a two-part question. My mom accepts me. So look at me. Do you think that, like, this Kara is just like a new spontaneous version of me. I'm like, I've kind of always been just like a smartass my entire life. And my mom and my dad have loved me unconditionally. When I was in high school, I was writing quite dirty songs. I've been writing songs, like funny songs, and some of them have been like, I wrote a song called Sex Ed when I was in 6th grade, all about like 2 teenagers banging in a car. Like, I have been an irreverent type of girl. And then when I was 18, I wrote a song called Textual Relations. You can actually look up the music video right now. So my mom helped me produce all of these comedy songs I wrote as a teenager. She helped me get into stand-up. She's, so my mom is very Mormon, does not like comedy clubs, doesn't get my humor necessarily, but she knows that like Kara's got something. My girl's talented. So my mom has also been a very like loving and supportive person in just the ways that she can. So I see that in her. And the things that I do not mess around though with is I do not like people telling me what I should do parenting wise. If you come into my house and tell me what to do parenting wise, you're gonna have a problem because I'm using every brain cell possible to do my very best job. And if there is like judgment, because some good judgment is there, it's like if I was beating my kids, that'd be one thing. I'm not. But overall, I don't stand for people telling me how I should parent my kids any which way. And so when my mom would do that, or when she would say things about how like my kids were like their tantrums were caused by Satan, I had to like work through that I don't want them to be around their grandma who thinks that of them. And so that just has to come from like really taking down my anger of that it's just, I have to look at the absurdity of things. And so overall, since I left the church, my mom and our relationship will never be the same, obviously, because like one of our main bondings was my testimony of the church, and we would talk about that kind of stuff. I'd sit on her bed my whole life and talk about spiritual things, and we don't have that anymore. And so what do you have? What do you have? And my mom still cares deeply about my life. She still wants and roots for me. So back when I told you, May 20th or whatever, and Aaron and I decided to get divorced, but I was like, I don't know. I don't know when I want to tell my parents, because I assumed that they were just going to be like, another ex-Mormon thing. Let the church, when I did finally tell my parents, it was the closest that I'd felt to my mom in 10 years, because she's still rooting for me. She still sees me as a person, She only brought up maybe like at the very end of the conversation, like at the 30-minute mark, she's like, well, I have noticed that ever since you left the church, and I was like, Mom, nope, we're not. I literally cut her off and I'm like, Mom, we're not going to do that, because 50% of all marriages end in divorce, and it's that number is still just as high in Mormon marriages, and some people should actually get divorced. And then I won't tell you where the conversation went, but it was a stand-up routine similar to a Taylor Tomlinson routine. I'll just tell you that much. It was really quite funny where the conversation went after that. But my mom and I were like crying together and like laughing together, and like she asked if she's like, do you want me to say a prayer? And I said my own atheist prayer. I was like, I'll say the prayer, And so there's absolutely still so much bonding that my mom and I have. But it's just there's trigger, there's electric wire moments of please do not say that my kid's tantrums, because my 7-year-old was just diagnosed with a list of things that explain her behavior. And if you have a materialist lens, obviously you're like, yes, that makes sense. This behavior is in line with that diagnosis. And my mom's just like, Satan is possessing your child, and if you want me to do a prayer, we could. I'm just like, no. Thanks, but no, So at first those things were really triggering and angering and stuff, but it's just, you're seeing somebody who has not really slowed down to really think through what they're saying, or sometimes, and I'm like that too. We're all like that. We're all messy people. I expect that if I'm a messy person, I still expect love, as long as people put up boundaries and I respect them, and I put up boundaries and people respect mine. Hopefully we can all be messy people and do life together and live together and don't have to like cut off people. So I was just going to say, in my relationship with my mom, it's going to be that we are who we're going to be. Our conditioning is what it is. And I want the best version of who my parents can be for my kids, just like I want the best version of who I am for my kids, my husband and stuff. So what does that take? That takes putting up boundaries. What does that take? That takes slowing down. asking people to explain their points of view to see if they can even validate them out loud. Like, have you slowed down enough to actually think about what you're saying? And then when we're talking and we're discussing this, the stakes are low, the energy is fine. How are we actually feeling about that? And my mom usually comes back with, well, that's just what I believe. Be like, perfect. That's what you believe. When we're around my kids, let's not talk about that kind of stuff. So I still love my relationship with my mom, and I still have lots of Mormon friends, and there's still some of the most beautiful relationships that I wouldn't do without. So that leads into the second part of this question was, I am sending my kids to a Christian day camp right now, and since I already told you, don't tell me what to do with my parenting. No, but it's I needed some childcare, and I love summer camps. Next summer, what I want to do is work at a summer camp like I did when I was 19. I want to take the summer off from YouTubing, whatever I'm going to be doing next year, and take my girls, who will be like 10 and 9 next summer-ish, and go work at a summer camp. And so it's a day camp, and so it's just like a camp, but they don't sleep over, and it's so fun. And the counselors are all so cute and great. And yes, it's at a church, but it's at the only church that I would ever allow my kids to almost go to in Salt Lake. And I have a best friend who is just lives on my block, and they are homeschooling Christian parents, and they go to that church. And if I could trade lives with my friend, I would. She's dope. She's great. And I've been to that church before, and I really like what they do there. Overall, I'm an atheist, and I walk in my like little whore outfits, and I'm like, I already know that you guys believe in the scriptures about how you're going to welcome me in my whore outfits into your place. And anyway, so I got no problem with their church. And yes, they came home the first day, and their little shirts had like Bible quotes on the back of it. And I was like, this is terrible for my brand. But then a couple weeks later, my 8-year-old won this award for the most Christ-like behavior. My little atheist child won most Christ-like behavior out of 60 kids. Wow, that's fantastic for my brand. So it's all marketing, it's all brand development is what I'm actually doing with my kids at going to that Christian camp. And I asked my Instagram followers to help me because I can't I have this big project I'm launching, and I need more childcare, and I couldn't afford the camp anymore. So they're not in it anymore. That's the point. I did get like $100 in Venmos, which are always very helpful. Small donations. If enough people send me $5, I can get there, but I needed more than that. And I told some single friends this week how much I pay in childcare per month, and overall, they shit their pants at how much I pay for childcare. It's like over $2,000 a month for my 3 kids. So anyway, Wiper Hunter said, I'm an atheist, but I do enjoy a good community church service here and there. So yeah, I'm the NuanceHoe at the end of the day. I completely understand why people are religious, why they go to church. My point of view comes more down to like what dogmas and what are things that are just taken on faith that cannot be questioned. And do you think that my kids are going to like really get indoctrinated from going to like a church camp? And like I let my kids go to church with my parents. They go to my church with my sister's like a new age Christian. So I'm like, I want my kids to be able to have these experiences with their family, because I think what they're building more than anything is just getting to know new people, new perspectives and stuff. And then they're going to come home to me, and we're going to talk about it, and we'll talk about literally anything at all times. And it's just a great way to have more conversations about why people believe what they believe, how the world works. It's just a good like jumping off point to have good conversations. So if like people always ask like, what if your kids grew up to be Mormon? I just don't think that the values that I am instilling in my kids match up with Mormonism, or like generally like a Christian church overall. I'm like my kids are going to be raised to be like not racist, hopefully, and like not homophobic, and like I just don't think that they would be attracted to what modern religion has to offer. Overall, like I said, like growing up feeling so whole and so held in one type of environment, of overall not knowing better that they aren't broken, that they have parents who like love them unconditionally through all of their problems. So it would be interesting. I would love a flash forward of our lives if they flash forward and they needed that for some reason. I'd be fascinating to see why. But overall, no, I don't see my kids growing up to be that type of religious and getting all of the good things that they need through just the love of their parents, family, extended family, and if anything really, really like they get really like effed up. My like break-in case of glass is like, I will tell them about mushrooms when they're adults. Be like, if I absolutely screwed something up right now, Kara, let's not be too hard on ourselves. Mushrooms will still exist in 20 years. It'll be okay. Like, therapists will still exist in 20 years. Like, you can do the best that you can. We're all doing the best that we can. So, all right. Any other last super chats? Get it in right now. I am going to see if there's any other final last things. I'm going to read you some of my favorite quotes that I shared on Instagram and hopefully they'll resonate with you. You ready? As you evolve, notice who says, I'm glad I get to know this version of you too. That hits. That's sexy, huh? Let me do one other article that I thought was obnoxious. I put this on my Instagram story too. Oh, Mormon apologists. Oh, you guys are so cute. Opinion. What the Wall Street Journal would have learned about temples from a Latter-day Saint like me. All right, Megan, tell me about it. Don't picture the temple, though. So that she's basically complaining that members of the longest sentence of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints over the world will rejoice with the new temples being built. And, we love our temples. Temples are the best. And there's people like the stonecutter John Rowe Moyle walked 50 miles a week just to go to the Salt Lake Temple site. Like, people love it. We love the temples. Why does everyone hate us for loving temples? For many members, it's a privilege to contribute to these holy Ephesus. I'm not going to try to say that word live. It's not going to happen. But journalists at major outlets routinely fail to give voice to the millions of Latter-day Saints who believe in the spiritual mission of the church and its leadership, relying instead on the same chorus of voices with the same unimaginative and cynical framing. Wealth can only mean greed, mistakes, and can only mean corruption, and billions of dollars in humanitarian aid is negligible. Unimaginative and cynical about wealth? The same old chorus? Well, you're going to have to call Jesus Christ unimaginative and cynical. He had a lot of things to say about wealth. And Mormons are so out of touch sometimes where it's like, you really believe in this savior that would come down and be like, oh yes, my $100 billion fund. That's exactly when I left Earth for the last time. And when I came back, that's exactly what the words I said would have led to. This makes perfect sense. This is exactly what I got across. Or not at all. Just about everything that Jesus taught was, it had a real anti-wealth, anti-religious and powerful, anti-exactly the structure of the church right now kind of vibe to it. So it's really people playing apologist for their feelings on the church, but it's again, this really isn't like, I know that Bible backwards and motherfucking forwards, you guys. And the modern LDS church resembles none of the Jesus Christ in there. Just gonna be honest with you. So overall, yeah, I just thought it was funny that they're just making the point. It's like, anyone can see that temples are expensive, but the real question is whether they are worth it. Hard no. Absolutely not. It's gonna be a no from me. Because to be honest, again, like I said, this whole live stream is about like coming home to yourself. That's a theme that you're going to have as you leave the church and you outsourced your autonomy and all of that to this religion for so long. But there's so many ways where you realize that like the one thing that I've been missing, kingdom of God is within. There's just so many places in life where you're going to be outsourcing that the place to find what you're looking for is in another person. It's in an institution. If I pay this person money, or what if it's just like asking yourself, hey, how can I be kind to you right now? Oh, making myself a cup of coffee. Oh, the things that you actually need are actually just within. It's walking outside. It's going for a little walk in the sunshine because that stuff is free, and not if capitalists had their way with it, they would be charging you. There's actually a Simpsons episode about that where Burns puts a big shield of sunlight over Springfield so that people have to pay the power plant for electricity. I'm like, People have thought of it. But I'm just like, the church, if you asked any Mormon, like Scripture Plus had a Instagram post this week that was like, why do you, asking a bunch of Latter-day Saints, why do you go to the temple and why is it secret and sacred to you? And like I always like to say, arguments can be made. Things can be said. Everything in a nuanced world, everything is within the realm of possibility. Some people will say, like, we love the temple because, you don't take these covenants lightly and they're secret and they're sacred. And, one of the people said you don't cast your pearls before swine. All right, that person has an ego. I don't think that they have really, it's not my favorite Bible passage. If you think that the rest of the world is swine and the church's temple ceremonies are like pearls. I understand how metaphors work. It's a little bit harsh, all right? We're trying to be Christ-like here, you guys, right? Like, are we? I don't know. So anyway, point is, there's a lot of things that could be said about why the temple is something that Mormons go to, why they feel it's so sacred. They pay 10%. You look your whole life to get married in it. People go once a week to do these endowments that are boring as fuck. So you're going to have to create a reason why all of this wealth is all invested in there. And it makes sense to be like, well, it's because it's the most sacred thing you could ever do. So sacred. No one else can even touch the sacredness. Bullshit. It's okay. Especially ex-Mormons know it. We can all say it. We can all be like, absolutely not. What I experienced in there, not what I would pay not to go back for one, besides like actually paying, nor would I think that is where God needs to be contained. I wouldn't even believe in a God that can only be contained within buildings that cost millions and millions of dollars. The chandelier in like the Jordan River Temple. I was watching this interview with the interior designer. It was like shipped over from Italy, cost $300,000. People who know how the world works, they don't need your freaking religion. Some people, they just need a paycheck. Like, look at COVID. Like, some people, they just need money when they're out of work. People just need money. They just need help. They just need resources. They just need infrastructure. And if the church is like, the infrastructure is actually in here. It's actually meeting with the missionaries and getting baptized and following these rules and telling yourself that you can never measure up without the actual tangible, completely not invisible love of the Savior named Jesus Christ, who died and rose for your sins. That with it, and then paying our church, and then like following all of this order of things, like that is actually the infrastructure that you need. I think every ex-Mormon realized, they're like, how the heck did I ever believe that? Like, there's just so many other ways that you can find beauty and find your own temples. Like I said, my tramp stamp, my body is a temple. You do not have a recommend, so stay off the premises. So, in their defense, we don't exactly respect their temple. Yeah, I respect the Mormon temple. I mean, as an ex-Mormon, I respect it in the way that I think most people would expect, to be like, yeah, I've been there, done that. I know some ex-Mormons will like post pictures like, drove past the temple and flipped it off. That's not my vibe. That's what you need to do for your healing journey. Like no harm, no foul there. But it's just a mega corporation that just has these land holdings in a place where they have to spend some money. I feel like it's not that like the churches, baptisms, and people who are the church is just exploding around the world. We need all these temples. Everybody knows that that's not the case. And when I worked at Mormon Stories, I loved one of my favorite things about working at Mormon Stories is all of the fun intel that we'd get from people who were like lost their faith, and they'd reach out to John, or longtime friends with John, but they have to be part of the church. We get the freaking best intel at Mormon Stories. I just wish that I should be like a reporter with John every day and be like, hey, John, got any more like hot tips? But yeah, we would have people from the freaking church's temple department saying that we're scrambling over here, that like President Nelson wanted to be he said he wants to be the president of the church who is like known for building temples. And that doesn't make sense if your temple department cannot keep up and you don't have like the permits and the allowances and the money, and like there's just too much work to be done. Like, remember when he announced like the Shanghai temple, and then like Shanghai was like, come again? Our country, you're going to be building a temple in where? Oh, the Communist Republic of China? You're going to be doing what now? Like, Nelson is just like kind of off his rocker thinking that he can do this. So yeah, even the church's own temple department is like, kill the beast. James said, I want to read this. Wouldn't it make sense that the church has so much money when they're a second coming based church to begin with? I don't think it makes any money because when the second coming comes, the money and the stock will all be worthless. So I don't know. Jesus wasn't really clear about when he comes back, because I do know that if you read Revelation, it's gonna be a bad day for a lot of people. I don't know what the state of the world is supposed to be like after everyone's lit on fire. Because like even President Nelson says, like, you need to pay your tithing so that like the great day of burning is coming and you need to be saved. So like, don't pay your tithing. You won't have time to just like write a check to the church and put it in, because Nelson says Jesus is coming back to light us all on fire. If you don't love Jesus like I do, don't you know you're going to be like engulfed in flames pretty soon, like literally anytime. So there's going to be, I don't know what money is going to look like after that. Yeah. And then Satan gets loosed for 1,000 years. I don't know how that works either. So, I really love talking about Mormonism and all of its kooky craziness. But if you guys are ready for me to shut up, I can probably leave and just let you know that I have some really fun announcements coming out on my YouTube channel and other places. I have a really big project I'm about to release in the next couple weeks, and I am so grateful for everyone's love and support and stuff. And I've been trying to get through my DMs, and if you have suggestions or you need to talk about something, you need resources, whatever it is, you can hit me up on Instagram at NuanceHoe. So make sure you follow me over there. I'll have all of the links down below in just a second. Just hold tight. And one of the best places to support me, please, for the love of all that is good and holy, patreon.com/NuanceHoe. I've had people who say, I've heard people talk about Patreon and I will never cross the threshold to go from YouTube to Patreon. But all it is just all of this YouTube videos and all of my audio files are up over there. And occasionally some nose pics. Sometimes you'll get pictures of my nose and be like, whoa, for free. You can be part of Hoetown City Council. $25, $20, part of Hoetown, $5. I need to make another $10 tier. Remind me of doing that. $100, you can be mayor of Hoetown. So recurring donations are like, I live and die on my Patreon, and people are coming in and out of like, their faith transition and stuff. So you have to like kind of replace those donations that you're kind of depending on to pay your bills. And so I've dipped down the last month, and I'm really, really trying to replace those donors. So recurring donations. And again, I try to be as accessible as possible, not just creating content, but also people are going through faith crises, or they need resources, or they're dating somebody who was in the church, or they're dating somebody who's in the church. There's just, I try to be as accessible and answer questions and be part of this community as much as possible. So the places to do that, specifically, I'll get back to you the soonest on Patreon for surezies, and Instagram, stuff like that. So hopefully you're following me on all of those platforms. I'll have the links down in just a second. Venmo at Cara B, if you're like, I watched this live stream. It actually was pretty entertaining. My girl, she lit an entire can in her hat on fire and roasted a marshmallow in the live stream. That's some dope ass shit right there. And if you want me to, now here's the only problem I'm having. All my marshmallows are underneath this fire. So I have nothing to do but burn my hand off. So getting your last final comments, questions. Aaron said, love your content. Thank you so much. YouTube loves when people finish the end of the video. So you have to go out on a real bang, a real banger. And I'm just going to go out on roasting this marshmallow now. Anyway, oh my gosh, I have so many other fun updates that I could tell you about. The other really fun thing that's happened is when Aaron and I were getting divorced, I had a friend, which we are not now. Could happen. But I had my friend Kyle Bishop, platonic friend, move into my basement, who runs Beyond God and Religion. And I love Kyle so much. And he, I built him a wall in my basement and everything. And he lives down there now. And I've made YouTube videos with him before, Beyond God and Religion. And if you need like a legit life coach, he's smart. He's a genius. I love him so much. You can go to beyondgodandreligion.com and get some life coaching stuff from him. And he just does like a 30-minute consultation where it's just like, hey, let's just like chat about stuff. And some people are like, hey, that was super helpful. Let me just like send you a couple bucks because I don't even need to hire you anymore. So it's like somebody who specializes in like talking to family or like faith transition stuff. And yeah, we all know that life coaches are an unregulated industry. Bae, I got you. I know that more than anyone. But Kyle's really dope. And he's cheap, and he gives some really good advice if you're going through something, and I just recommend him. So anyway, super helpful because he's at home watching my kids right now while I was able to come here, and he's helped me like clean and organize my whole house, and he's just been such a sweetheart, and it's just been like a real fun party at my house every night, like friends from the neighborhood and people hanging out, having Kyle and his girlfriend over every night, and other people just like ordering pizza and stuff. So if you live near me in Cottonwood Heights, reach out to me on DM, and you can probably come over. If you're at least within my range, I would probably not, I wouldn't even do a background check. I wouldn't even be as strict as the church in the UK at this point. Because I just believe in just having a little, I won't say commune, but it's actually quite fun, like how much people are just like popping in and out of my house right now, coming for dinner, staying the night. I had a bunch of friends sleep over on the couch the other night. I was at a drum circle party that I got invited to, and then there was a party going on back at my house at home. Anyway, and we karaoke'd into the night. So, all right, you know all my links. I love you guys so much. I'll be back here next Monday at noon for another live stream. We'll talk about the news, do a question and answer, talk about my life. Please leave a comment in the algorithm if you've left it this far. You tell me what you're doing fun this July. And God bless America. All right, bye.